Hello there, Capricorn. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the month of April. The first segment of this video is going to be for April the 1st through the 15th. And then after that, we're going to be looking at April 16th through the 30th. But for right now, let's just start with your environment, Capricorns. And your environment is going to be any place where you have energy or effort invested. So whenever I look at your environment, I see that there's a lot of confusion here and that there's just everything that maybe had seemed sturdy and stable about your environment is kind of topsy-turvy right now. And a lot of that has to do with the idea that you're feeling like there just isn't enough to go around to cover everything that needs to be covered in the environment. And so with that feeling, there's bringing a lot of confusion coming in here, and I feel like you're just really not sure what you're going to do, what you're going to do. Well, it's easy to see how that can happen with everything that's been going on in the world lately, for sure. Let's see what else comes up here. Let's look at subconscious leanings. All right, so subconscious leanings, really, you're looking at what can I do that would be important? What could I do that would make me feel fulfilled? You know, where can I find satisfaction and fulfillment? And I think that this is something that you're even, you're looking deep inside. This is something that has become almost like a spiritual quest for you, even that you are praying so much about this and really thinking about, okay, how can I figure out what I can do that's going to make me feel fulfilled and where I'm doing something that I feel like is important. And I think that your subconscious is realizing that there's a lot out there that you could really get into, that you could really feel fulfilled with. But the thing is, how do you get from where you are now to where you want to be with those things? It feels like there's just a lot of, we're back to this idea of confusion. There's illusion. There's just a lot of misunderstandings about what it takes to do those things that you actually would like to do. And so your subconscious is really working on, okay, how do I work through all these illusions? How do I find the truth about doing something that makes me feel fulfilled and happy? And so your subconscious is on the job trying to figure that out. I'm glad that it is. So the next thing that we're looking at here talks to me about learning style and also communication style, but we're going to look at learning style. It does look like you are finding out a lot of information, doing a lot of research that has to do with a very emotional topic for you right now. You do have a lot of information already, and I think you're falling back, excuse me, on a lot of that information and using it quite heavily right now as well. I think you're learning some, what I would call supporting information, that goes along with this, that helps to strengthen your position on what you know. But I think, like I said, you've got a lot of information that you're leaning on right now. You're just putting in some fine tuning and some tweaking. And it also looks like there's somewhere where you're reaching out and I think that, this may be putting out resumes, or this may be calling somebody or texting somebody. And I think that it just seems quiet. It seems very quiet with information coming back. So it's sort of taking a while to hear anything back, even as much as, are you actually hiring or not? You're just trying to find out information about, things that would be available for you to work with. And I don't see that you're getting a lot of information back. You're not getting a lot of response back on that. As far as communication, I do think that you're doing a lot of reflecting in general, but also reflecting on yourself. And so I think that there's a lot of quiet time going on. There's a lot of time where it's just you talking to you. And I think also you do have some really solid friends around you that you're talking to as well. I don't see you talking to a whole lot of people right now. I think it's just more the the closer inner circle, because I think you're spending more time thinking things through than you are talking to others and just really trying to sort through. I just get this sense of, trying to understand what you can do, trying to understand your fears, trying to sort of unplug those fears so that you can pay attention in a more calm and peaceful way to the things that you want to be focused on right now. Next thing that I'm looking at for you, Capricorns. If I called you Sagittarius earlier, I apologize. I may have done that. I apologize if I did. But next thing that we're looking at, Capricorn, I think that we're looking at work. And at work, you're in a very vulnerable situation at work. And I think that you're brave enough to actually say something to someone about what's going on to try to find out, what is happening. I just get this sense of kind of like everybody knows there's stuff going on behind the scenes, but nobody really wants to talk about it. And I think you're the one that you're saying, you know what, we need to know what's going behind the scenes too, because we need to know, do we need to be looking for another job? Are we going to have more hours here soon? Really what's going to happen? And I think that at the same time that you're just trying to figure out what's happening with your work, I think you're also looking for something that might somehow be more secure. So, wow, Capricorns. This is the heaviest reading I've done for this week, and I apologize. I know a lot of you look at things and think, okay, well, that's not very positive. I'm just going to tell you, when I read, I look at life, and life is what it is. Sometimes are better than others. The thing about a reading, though, you always want to come into a reading expecting that you should be able to use that to help you as you're moving through these time frames coming up. So when you see something here that you're not very thrilled about, then what you need to know is that you have free will and you can change some things as you're moving into these energies or as these energies are moving into your life. You have the ability to make some changes so that these outcomes don't come out the way that I'm seeing them, so that they come out more in your favor. But if you don't have the heads up from a reading, then you don't know that there's something that you even need to change. So the highest and best good is what I always ask Sacred Spirit for in my readings. So I am believing for you guys that this is for your highest and best good to know about this stuff, because this gives you the chance to transform this energy into something that is actually better. So it's your responsibility to transform the energy. I can't do that for you, but I can give you the heads up so that you know that you would like to. Okay? So that's why I don't consider my readings negative, even if we're hearing things that we wish we didn't have to hear. They're empowering because now you know what you can work on. All right, let me get off my soapbox there. Next thing that we're looking at does talk to me about that part of your personality that is being grown or expanded right now. You are definitely going through a major metamorphosis. You're changing your perspective on something and you're changing it from the inside out. And so this can take a little bit of time. It's usually not a real flash type of thing, although I have seen these things happen really fast. Usually this takes a little time to actually process and bring out the manifestations from this change. And with this change, I see you going back to something that may have left you feeling depleted in the past. But I think that you're going back to it now and you're working on whatever that thing is or whatever that situation is or relationship is. You're going back to that and you're working on it to try to make it work this time, now that you've had this change in perspective, this change in how you view things. So that's where you're growing and expanding at the moment. The next thing that we're looking at talks to me about those things that you stand for. And this is a position in my spread that is influenced by the planet Mars. So you could stand for it pretty aggressively given the appropriate circumstances. What we're going to look at is what is this situation that you're standing for? And typically, this is a situation that somebody will have come to you and asked you to explain, or they may have even confronted you about this situation. And so you've either explained it or just really defended it. And so we're going to look at the situation, and then we're going to look at how that other person feels after you've had this interaction or after you've had this talk about what this situation is. So it looks to me like you've picked up some kind of new responsibilities here in the recent past. And as you've picked up some of those new responsibilities, it seems like it might have been really loading you up. You might be really close to being overburdened, if not actually overburdened. But I think the idea that you have these new responsibilities is helping you to not be afraid of something that otherwise it would scare you if you didn't have these new responsibilities that you had picked up. And so it looks to me like you had a choice. You had a choice about whether to pick up these new responsibilities or not. You chose to do it. You chose to do it because it helps you to deal with one of the fears that you were facing before you picked up these responsibilities. So you're explaining this to somebody else, and how they're seeing you is they're seeing you as somebody who is exploring and looking for options, looking for ideas, looking for good ways to handle things. They're seeing you as somebody who your whole foundation, your whole sense of security and what makes you feel secure has kind of done a flip-flop. It's complete 180 different lately. And they're seeing you as somebody who is really dedicated to bringing improvement into your life in spite of the idea that something has flip-flopped. So, they're seeing you as working on a really sweet recovery from whatever it was that made your security or your sense of security really change. Okay? So the next thing that we're looking at, Capricorn, does talk to me about your flex point. Now, your flex point in these readings is really where something happens that sort of changes your perspective, and then you start going in a little bit of a different trajectory than you were before. So that's why I call it the flex point. And so what do we have here? You've got some really good things going on, actually. In your flex point, you're getting over some kind of sadness or heartbreak. There's some kind of thing that has been frustrating you for a while. That is no longer frustrating you. That is coming to an end. And you are making some really good decisions moving forward, some logical, calm decisions moving forward, where maybe before the feelings were getting in the way with the decisions. Now you're able to really think things through and make decisions that make sense. And then the next thing that we have coming up, going on at the same time, basically, yes, once again, we see you really focused. And it looks like you have been sort of knocked off balance or knocked off your game in the recent past. And that has made you come to a point where you're trying to decide, should I keep the status quo the way it is? Or should I do something completely new and different that I've never done before that I'm going to have to sort of feel my way through? And I think that you are really focused on getting rid of that confusion about what to do. I think that you know that you're off balance and that it's hard for you to make decisions right now that are good, solid decisions, but you're really focused on making this decision, because I think that you know that to start to get some calmness and start to get some peace, you have to make a decision there so you know which way you're going instead of flip-flopping back and forth. Also happening at the same time, I do see you really focusing on getting some healing, getting that groundedness, getting that calmness, getting that peace, maybe even healing, for a few of you, healing from something that is very literal and tangible and physical in the physical body. For a lot of you, I see you really focusing on just balancing your emotions, balancing your thoughts, being in a nice, logical, rational place. A lot of you are really focusing on that. For some of you, not all of you, for a minority of you, I think part of this is finding out what to do with a hormone situation, because it may be that your hormones are thrown off. That's part of what has been throwing you off. So there's some healing definitely here. You may be consulting somebody who is a professional to help you with this healing, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a specialist, whether it's a shaman to help you with scattered soul pieces, or a reiki person to help you with healing. There's all kinds of people that we can contact to help us whenever we have a need. And so I feel like you may be contacting somebody to help you with getting things back into a good, grounded, sane, logical place. Okay. All right, Capricorns, where do we see you at the end of this time frame? So this will be like the 13th, 14th, 15th of the month. We see you actually getting better, strengthening up, feeling much better. And we see you starting out afresh. We see you starting out anew with basically a leap of faith, not knowing where this new journey is going to take you, but knowing that it's definitely time to take that new journey. And I think that on this new journey, you have the support of friends and family, people in your support network. I think that they are happy for you, that you have got something new that is going and that shows potential. Okay. So that's what I've got for you for the first part of April, Capricorn. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, we're going to look at the second part of April. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon. Hello there, Capricorn. We are back, and this time we are looking at April 16th through the 30th. And so we are going to start once again with environment. Now remember, environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested, usually home, but not always. And what we have going on in your environment, it looks like there is either you are going back to an environment that you've been to before, or somebody is coming to you that you know. Somebody is coming to your environment that you know from before. So we've got that going on. Also, it looks like there's a decision being made in your environment. And I think that this decision has to do with another person or other people. And this has to do with the idea of have things been handled in a good way, in a fair way? Were they handled with integrity? It looks like there was a situation in the environment that sort of fell apart. And so now it may be you having to make this decision, or somebody else. I think that it's going to play out differently for different ones of you. So for some of you, you'll be making this decision, and for others of you, somebody else will be making this decision, and maybe even about you. But there's a decision being made about where things sort of came off the rails in a specific incident, and somebody's trying to figure out, maybe you, somebody's trying to figure out if the person who was responsible actually intended for the outcome to be the way it was, or if that was something where the person had good intentions and things just kind of came off the rails. So there's going to be a decision that's made there, and it's going to be made in a fair and appropriate way. And I do see that there is a lot of peace going on in your environment, sort of a zen place. And so this to me says very little drama. Excuse me. Very little drama going on in your environment. Whoop, whoop. We like that, right? Okay, Capricorns. Next thing that we're looking at does talk to me about your subconscious leanings. So when I'm looking at this, it looks like you are thinking about traveling, and you're thinking about traveling to a place that you have not been before. And I think you're thinking about accommodations. I think that you would like a very specific kind of accommodations. And it's interesting, for some of you Capricorns, I feel like you would like to have something really luxurious. And for others of you, I feel like this could very easily be camping out in the wilderness. But either way, there are very specific ideas that you have in your mind about what you want your accommodations to be like. And so this is all what I'm seeing in your subconscious mind. I don't think we're booking any plans yet, but this is just, sort of getting things in all lined up mentally for when you travel, what you're going to be doing and what type of place you're going to be staying. We can always dream about that, right? Can always dream about that. And hopefully the pandemic is winding down by the time April starts. I'm recording this on what is today? The 3rd of March, actually. So hopefully a lot can happen in a month. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. I do feel like You are learning quite a bit just based on curiosity and questions. There is some information that's coming to you, and there's a lot of emotion coming in with that information. So I think that whoever is sharing information with you may be sharing it in a very emotional type of way. And I think there's a lot of information that's also coming in just because you're interested in learning and pursuing the chance to learn about some things that you're interested in. Now, as far as communication, I do think you're having some pretty lengthy communications with somebody in your sphere of influence, and I do think that there is a decent amount of emotion around those communications. I think also you're having communication with somebody where you are passing along wisdom or knowledge, and I think you're also having communications with somebody who is passing along wisdom or knowledge to you as well. So interesting, because that card actually plays out in two directions there for you. And then the last thing that I have about communication is that I really feel like you're kind of walking on eggshells around somebody because you don't want to disappoint them, maybe even more than one somebody. And so I think that you're trying to be very careful about what you say around certain people so that you don't get them upset or disappoint them. You don't want to rock the boat by saying something when you really didn't mean to bring drama to a situation. Okay. Now, next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about work during this time frame, Capricorns. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, it does look like you're working, and as you're working, you're interacting with a couple of different people, a couple of different characters. What I'm hearing is one is the boss and one thinks they're the boss. Okay. And so what you've got going on here is you've got basically two people that don't have a whole lot of integrity. These two people will take credit for the work that you've done and try to make themselves look good. They will do whatever it takes to get you to do whatever they want you to do, and that includes lying or making things look a certain way that are not a certain way. They're not above lying or manipulation. They're not above throwing a fit to get you to do whatever it is that they want to do. Oh my gosh, Capricorns, you have two people like this in your workplace. Never seen that before. I am so sorry for you. I mean, excuse me. One of these people is just full on narcissistic tendencies, and this other person is just corrupt. So, wow, so sorry, so sorry. Now, the good news out of this for work is that there is somebody who has passed away who you would have considered to have a position of authority over you, somebody who would have been in a male physical body when they were here. They could be like a father, spouse, mentor, professor, teacher, somebody who had some type of authority, maybe an ex-boss before they passed away. And that person is watching over this situation and putting in as much influence as they can to help you in dealing with these two, shall we just say, cantankerous people at work. All right, Capricorns, let's look next at that part of your personality which is growing or expanding right now. So it looks like you've been waiting for something to happen for a while, waiting and expecting. And it looks to me like you're kind of done waiting. I don't think that whatever you were waiting for has actually happened. And I think that you have kind of decided that the time limit has run out. Not going to be waiting on that anymore. And so I think that you are ending this waiting situation. I don't think it makes you feel very happy to do that. It may even make you feel a little bit unenergized and lethargic to end this waiting situation. But at the same time, you're feeling very disempowered by being in this situation, and you're feeling the need to, get some of your own power back for you in your own life. All right, so the next thing that we are looking at, Capricorns, talks to me about those things that you stand for and then how the other person sees you after that interaction. So it looks like we've got a situation where things just really weren't working out well for you. There was just things going wrong. But I feel like you were still maintaining and you were still managing to manifest in spite of that. Wow, you're the second sign that's got that for April, and I only have 2 more signs left to go. But this never, like I've never seen this on my table before, and the whole time that I've been reading since 2011, this has never ever showed up on my table before. So in spite of the fact that things are not, working out very easily for you, you're still manifesting. You're still keeping your eye on the prize, making that movement forward, and manifesting those things that you want in your life. You do have somebody who is a little bit jealous of you, and this is going to be somebody who's younger than you, somebody who can be very sarcastic and cutting. They like to laugh and they like to make other people laugh, but sometimes they do it at somebody else's expense. So after you've explained the situation to somebody, how they feel about you is that you are basically putting all your qualities and all your skills to work. You're not slacking on anything. You're putting everything that you have into a situation, and they feel like they need to walk away from this situation because whatever you're doing is making them feel vulnerable. And so because they're feeling vulnerable, they want to walk away from this whole situation and want to have nothing to do with it. All right? La da 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 da. I imagine that would be the person who's jealous. All right, so next thing that we are looking at does talk to me about your flex period during this particular time frame. Okay. So what we have here is a situation that was ideal to be something that you were collaborating with somebody on. And I think originally it was set up to be a collaborative type of situation. And something is going on where that collaboration can no longer happen in the way that the two of you envisioned it before. And I think that you're not very happy about this. I think that this has you, I don't want to say upset, but a little bit stronger than disappointed is how I think you're feeling from that. Now, at the same time that this is going on, okay, so it just looks like we've got somebody here who's distracted. And it may be, I think they're distracted by a person or by a relationship. It could be a romantic relationship, but doesn't have to be. But somebody's distracted by a person or relationship, and they're not able to work because of that distraction. That distraction has taken them away from work. Right now, I don't feel like that's you. I feel like that's the person you were supposed to be collaborating with. Now, what else is going on? Well, I think that this is a challenge for you because you're not able to actually move forward with this all by yourself. And so I think you're doing the best that you can, but you're not able to do everything that you would normally do in this situation as far as what you would normally produce for somebody if you were collaborating with this other person. I don't think that you're able to produce that all by yourself. I do see you giving things your best effort and doing the best that you can for this other person. But I feel like, I do feel like it's a little bit of a struggle. And I do think you accomplish it. And I think that when you get to the end of this, when you've met your target, I think you're going to be breathing a huge sigh of relief. And you may even be scheduling a day or two to rest. Now, where do we see you at the end of the month, Capricorn? Capricorn, you just have so many people making decisions around you, I think. And I think that what's going on is you're waiting for somebody to make a decision. And this could be a legal decision, but it doesn't have to be per se legal. But this is somebody who has influence over you that is needing to make a decision. And I think that you're just waiting for that decision to come down. And I think also that it's really frustrating for you at the end of the month to be waiting for this decision. It feels to me like I can almost hear you guys saying, I have given them all the information that they need to make a decision. I don't know why they're taking so long. So we've definitely got some frustration going on there as we see you waiting for somebody to make a decision once we get to the end of the month, Capricorns. Thank you very much for being with me today. Thank you for the thumbs ups and for sharing this video with others who may find it beneficial. Those of you who are interested in ordering a private reading with me or even a private Reiki session, you can find my contact information on the website at the bottom of the screen. And just get a hold of me and we'll get you taken care of as quickly as we can. Thank you all very much for being here. Everybody have a fantastic, wonderful, thrilling, peaceful month. And I'll see you all back on the next video. Peace out.